Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more creepy stories. I know I just did a similar video Friday, but I'm really into like the haunted hospital stuff right now. That was morticians, more so, a little bit of ER nurses, mostly morticians. This is like haunted hospital stories. I read this first one and it's like kind of cute, but also really creepy. I'm so excited to get into it. It says The Phantom Pediatrician. I'll never forget this experience from my early days as a pediatric nurse. Working in one of the oldest wings of the hospital during the night shift, I witnessed something that still puzzles me to this day. Children, who are generally extraordinarily perceptive, began noticing an unexplained presence precisely around 6 in the morning. Several of them, unprompted and with striking consistency, asked about the doctor who had just visited. They described him as a tall figure with gray hair, glasses, and always wearing a white coat. Eventually, I had to ask my colleagues about this mysterious man. "Oh, that sounds like Dr. So-and-so," they said nonchalantly. "He used to work here, but he passed away some time ago. We believe he still makes his rounds, checking in on the children." I'd never seen any pictures of this doctor, yet every child recounted the same image. It was an eerie realization that perhaps those we've lost continue to watch over their charges, existing in a space between our reality and theirs. Like, still doing what he loves, still checking on the children. I don't know, there's something about that that's like so sweet. So sweet. But it's also sad at the same time because it's like, I always read stories where people continue to work in the afterlife. And it's almost like, do they not realize that they passed? Do they think that they're still here and they're still doing their job? Because that also is heartbreaking. We're gonna have to move on. Unseen forces at the nursing station. It was well past midnight and there I was, focusing on charting, alone at the nurse's station in an older nursing home. Out of nowhere, all of the charts flew off the shelf as if pushed by invisible hands. I was out of there so fast, I snatched up my belongings and ran to the other station. Never in my career had I witnessed such an unexplainable phenomenon, especially since the shelf was perfectly intact on the wall. I insisted on company for the rest of the night, and I would never go in there again. This sounds interesting. The unsettling tale of Colleen's last escape. During my tenure as a nurse manager at a community nursing home, I encountered an inexplicable occurrence while covering for a sick supervisor during the night shift. At precisely, I don't know what time that is, I'm gonna guess 2:50 in the morning, an unnerving symphony began as every door alarm simultaneously erupted into frantic buzzing. Initial belief led me to suspect a system malfunction because the scenario of multiple residents attempting an escape seemed implausible. I rallied my team, particularly the newer members, to inspect each door. The relentless alarms persisted for an agonizing 20 minutes until a veteran CNA returned from her break. She assessed the chaos, the alarms, and then me, clutching the control box, and declared matter-of-factly, "Open the window, Colleen wants out." Who is Colleen? Skepticism made her insistence seem like a dark joke, but her intensifying urgency couldn't be ignored. "She'll grow angry. Open the window." Compelled, I opened the window. In an instant, the alarm ceased across every floor, right down to the basement, and all was quiet again. The memory sends shivers down my spine to this day, heightened by the image of the open window's curtains billowing, as though a presence had swept through them, chasing an unseen escape. Colleen, as it turned out, was a centenarian pioneer, resident of our home, passing away at 108 with no kin to mourn her. That night, it seemed she had one last journey to make. That's insane. That's actually the craziest shit I've ever... It's crazy. Not the craziest shit I've ever read, but it's insane. It's up there. We'll say that. Night Shift Whispers. On a quiet night in OB with no patients to attend to, my colleague Jeannie and I dedicated ourselves to restocking supplies and conducting routine checks, anticipating a relaxed shift ahead. While Jeannie handled the labor rooms, I took charge of the nursery, focusing particularly on the special care section nestled at the back. It was there, amidst the silence, that a gentle whisper carrying my name broke the stillness. Assuming it was Jeannie, I ventured towards the desk area, finding it unexpectedly empty. Shrugging off the peculiarity, I returned to my task in the special care unit. Moments later, Jeannie appeared, a puzzled look crossing her features. "Did you call for me?" As we exchanged stories, a chill crept over us. She heard her name in the same tender murmur that I heard mine. We found ourselves grappling with an unsettling realization. Our unit, secured for infant protection, couldn't be breached by outsiders, yet the whispered names, soft as a sigh, left us questioning if perhaps we weren't as alone as we believed. And that was actually all of the stories, but I picked out 2 articles because I knew that was gonna be short. I just read the first one and I wanted to read it in a video because I loved that one for some reason, and so I have another one, don't worry. This first story says The Running Water. Once when I was working in an LTC facility, I was walking down the hall, speaking to a CNA, when all of a sudden we heard the loud sound of water running in the bathroom. All the patients were in bed already, so I turned to her and looked like, what is that? We walked to the bathroom, which you could only enter by key, unlocked the door and went in. The lights were out, so we turned them on. The tub water was running full blast into the tub. No one was in there. I walk over and turn the faucet all the way until the water stopped running. I said, why is the water running? Everyone's in bed. The CNA said strange stuff happens in that bathroom and on the floor all the time, including lights turning on and off and stuff moving around or turning on in that particular bathroom. What's weird is that I heard the water start as I was standing near the bathroom and know that nobody walked in, and the handle had to be turned all the way to the right to turn it off. A wasted water, what a shame. Number 2, they're still here. I was working in an ICU and had a patient who would only repeat what was said to her and was with her all night. One time I went into the room and she started telling me all the ways she died. I died because of a narcotic overdose. I died because I took too much insulin. I died on a sunny Sunday afternoon, etc. Then later she looked up at the ceiling and said, they're all still there. I ran out of the room as fast as I could. Another time I had a blind patient who kept asking me what time it was all night long. One time I went in to check on him and he says to me, it's the witching hour. It was 3:33. I walked out. I would also walk out. And I would never come back. No, I'm sorry to only repeat things that you hear and then you look up and you're like, there he... No. The man in the room. I had a patient admitted into a room at about 1:30. He was alert and oriented. He was rolled in on an ER gurney and started freaking out about him. Can't we see him? That he's not going to stay in that room. He needs to be as far from that room as possible. We switch his room assignment and get him settled. Later in the morning, I ask who he is. He says that we need to have that room exorcised. He is apparently a very angry, dead, mid-40s male. He didn't like another man in his room. That room was always really cold, summer or winter. The lights used to come on for no reason. Yeah, maybe, I think you're right. I think you should figure that out. Till death do us part. I worked at an LTC facility as a night shift aide about 14 years ago. I worked a hall I had never been on before. It was like 1 a.m. and I saw an elderly guy walk out of a room, down the hallway, and leave the facility. I went to that room and the resident was awake. Asked her who she was talking to, and she told me her husband always came to visit her late at night. I went to ask the other aide on the floor about it, and they told me the resident was 102 years old, and her husband has been dead for like 20 to 30 years. Swear on my life that it was an actual person leaving that hall. I could even describe his outfit and hat. And needless to say, I didn't work that hall much anymore, but I feel like that's so sweet. I don't know, I love that. I love that so much. Because when I die, if my husband doesn't come visit me, or no, sorry, when he dies, if he doesn't come visit me, I'm divorcing you even though you're dead. I don't care. Like, come on. That is so sweet, and I would want to work on that floor forever. I would always want to be helping that lady because I would want to see her dead husband coming to visit her. I don't care. Come play with us, Katie. I'm not gonna like this one. I had a good one, we're due for a bad one. I worked at Cincinnati Children's, and there's a little girl who appears at the bedside of dying children the day before they pass and tells them it's going to be okay. Never mind, maybe I'm gonna like this one. They even mentioned her as a household name in orientation. In Indy, at a children's hospital, we had a patient pass in surgery, but her room was haunted. A little African-American boy saw her one night and said, she looks like me, and she has one of these and one of these, pointing to his central line in GT. She also had a central line in GT. Here in Colorado, I stayed at the Stanley Hotel. It's the hotel that inspired The Shining. Stephen King stayed there and felt like his bartender was a ghost and saw 2 little girls on the 4th floor where there were no other guests. I woke up every 20 minutes to nothing. I had a sock on my perfectly made bed and a luggage tag earring on my spotless bathroom. The next morning, I bought a book from the Hotel Hauntings and my hotel room was in it. Apparently, things go missing in one part of the hotel and show up later in my room. They also have a wounded veteran donated flag that has a spot that started to fade into a silhouette of the original owner of the hotel. That's insane. I kind of like the kids coming to visit other kids. I think it's really sweet. These are all kind of really sweet. I kind of love these. Number 6, have a good night, doctor. I got called in one night for a bad case in the OR, and we were in the middle of it, and I saw a guy in surgeon garb walk past the OR door and continue on towards a dead end. We were at the end of the hall. I walked to the door and I couldn't find anyone. Yelled out hello, still no one. I had heard that there was a ghost of a surgeon in the OR. See, now that I just don't like. Because he's not visiting anyone, he's not helping in any way, he's just kind of there and it's kind of creepy. Don't swoosh her. Worked in an LTC where a cute little man would be clear over on one side of his twin bed, and when I asked him to scoot over so he didn't fall off, he said he didn't want to swoosh the little girl laying next to him. I guess there used to be kids in this place at some time. In the same hall, residents would see a lady in black who would go into rooms, and within a day or two, that resident would pass. I didn't like working in that hall at night. I wouldn't either, but also the little girl like laying with the old man. I don't know! Oh my god, these are all kind of similar and I'm like eating it up. Laughter is not always the best medicine. This might be bad. I was eating alone in the cafeteria one night, maybe 1 a.m. I walked out to the hall to get on the elevator and heard a little kid laughing. No one was anywhere around. I asked security to walk around and look. There were only EVS down there with the doors locked, nowhere near the hallway. Yeah, that one. Yeah, look, car accident. I was working an ICU assignment in a small hospital in Wilkesboro, North Carolina maybe? NC, I'm assuming that's North Carolina. And my patient, who was in the process of dying, started yelling about a car accident and specified survivor man versus woman at the same time. There was an MVA coming into the ED where one of the passengers died. We were all freaking out. That was really confusing to read, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what all these things mean, but that is kind of insane. Yeah, I don't really understand. That was hard to read, but yeah, I think he predicted the car accident and someone coming in. Maybe. He liked my energy. Number 10. When I posted on Facebook that my bedroom lights kept coming on and off, a friend who sees things said it was a recently deceased little boy. Unbeknownst to her, I had worked in ONC, I don't know. That week, I flew in a pediatrician hospital, and a little boy had died just before my shift. A few days later, I was taking a picture of a curtain I had made in my daughter's room, and there were 2 orbs dancing on the screen. My friend said one of them was a boy. She said he liked my energy. Wait, that's so sweet. I don't know why. Like, I want a little ghost to like my energy and want to hang out with me and no, I don't. No, I don't. Okay, number 11, LTC stories. What does LTC mean, by the way? I worked LTC and have tons of scary hospital stories. Number 1, the facility was built where a playground used to be. A little boy died there in the 30s. Residents who were blind or had Alzheimer's would regularly see a little boy. They always described the exact same kid in the same clothes. 2, I had a 90-year-old resident with dementia who hadn't spoken in years. She was actively dying. She looked behind me and said, "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I love you." She died exactly 24 hours later. And 3, there was a resident who never used her own bathroom to have a BM. She always went to the room across the hall. After she passed, people would swear they saw someone going into the room across from hers, even years later from people who didn't know the story. I could go for hours. That's insane. I believe this might be the last one. This says The Call. Back when I was a PCA, I worked at Mercy Hospital in Main Erie, which is no longer there. We always had odd stuff happen, but the best one night we got a random call upon my unit. I worked on the 5th floor, teleside, and the other side was oncology, from a room on the floor below us. The thing was, on the 4th floor, the side had been closed for a long time, and there was no one down there. The other side was a small rehab. So we get this call, no one's in the room, so I and a few others go down to that side of the hall. We find the room and walk in to find no one there. It was being used for storage and there was no call light or phone in that room. No one could explain it. Other than that, we had call lights that would go off when no one was in that room. We just figured it was a ghost. Oh, one more story. I'm sensitive to the paranormal, and not long after I started working there on nights, the elevator, 9 times out of 10, would open right as I was about to push the button. This happens a lot, and only to me. Every time I would sip on and say, "Thank you, ghost," I love that shit, because you know what my favorite thing in the world is? It's the small things. When I get to the elevator and I push it and it just opens, like it doesn't have to come down from different floors, it's just there waiting for me. I would love if a ghost pushed the button for me. And that is all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any creepy stories, like paranormal stories, anything that you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. If you have any haunted hospital stories, super into that shit right now, please share them with me. I got a cute little announcement to make at the end of this video, so I'm gonna do that. I was debating on doing it, but I think I'm gonna do it, so that's the end of the video. I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already know this, but I may have gotten myself a little bit of a boyfriend. I don't really want to talk about it too much because it's, I don't know. I don't want him to watch this and think that I like him. I get a little nervous. I also met him through mutual friends and I don't want them to watch this. I don't want them to be like, "Boo, gushy, whatever." I just wanted to tell you really quick. Might as well. Perhaps I'll make a video with him in a million years when I can think of a video idea that's spooky that I can do with a man. I also have another little exciting announcement, but I think I'm gonna hold off on that one for a little bit. That one I could be more gushy about because you guys, you'll see. That one will be like a little surprise. We'll get to that eventually. But yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, I had been wanting to post for a while, like a little bit now, because we'd had like so many pictures together and I was like, I just need to like post these before it's too late. And so like I wanted to post like a little dump. And if I haven't posted it by Sunday when this video is going up, ignore that. I still haven't posted it yet. It is Tuesday. I plan on posting it this week then. So it should be up. It should be there. Hopefully. If we broke up for some reason, this is really awkward. I don't think we will. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much. See ya.